Have you ever watched a movie that was so bad that it immediately ruined your entire day? Because luckily that was not my experience watching Ballerina. This movie was absolutely fire, so here's my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the film. So if you don't know, this movie is a spin-off in the John Wick franchise, taking place in between John Wick 3 and 4, but you really don't have to see those movies to understand this, but you should watch them anyways because they're good. Instead of following John Wick, we follow Ana DeArmis' character Eve, whose father is assassinated when she's a little kid, which leads her on this lifelong quest of becoming an assassin and looking for revenge, which sounds basic, but I promise there's actually some decent twists and reveals in the story. I'll talk about the insane action in a minute, but first I want to highlight Ana DeArmis in this movie because I do think she is legitimately great in this role, and this is kind of the role she needed to reach that next level as like a true action star. Like, yeah, she's already famous, but her career up until this point has been pretty bad. Like Blonde, terrible. Knock Knock, one of the worst movies ever created. Deep Water, pretty bad. Ghosted, bad. Her only other action roles like No Time to Die, which I'm pretty sure she's on screen for about 30 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. I genuinely hope she does a lot more action movies in the future because she did a great job, and the writers obviously too, of making Eve a character that's not just like a carbon copy of John Wick. Even though these are both revenge stories in the same world, she's a very different character, different motivations, and you can kind of see that in her interactions with John Wick in the movie itself. Which leads me into another big positive for this movie is this is exactly how a spin-off should function. Like, yeah, it's in the same world as John Wick. There's lots of the same characters coming in, but it doesn't feel like cheap cameo or like nostalgia bait or anything. All the characters actually serve a good purpose in the story and just help the world feel more alive. Like Ian McShane's back as Winston Scott, but again, it doesn't feel like cheap cameo service or anything. He actually has a good role in the story. We get to see Lance Reddick in one of his last roles ever, rest in peace. But most importantly, John Wick is used perfectly in the movie. Like, he doesn't overcrowd or take over the movie from Ana de Armas. But the few scenes that he does have in this film are absolutely incredible. He's used so perfectly in this film. I won't go into details on how, obviously, because this is spoiler free, but if you've seen the movie, you know. But characters, story, all that stuff is great and all, but we all know what we come to a John Wick movie for, and that's the action, and this movie absolutely delivers. Not only does the action get bigger and bolder than the John Wick movies, it also gets a little dumber and goofier, but in the best way possible. There is some stuff that's just so absolutely ridiculous in this movie, but pretty much every action scene left me like one of these two memes, either watching the screen like this one on the top or literally leaning up in my seat because I had to lock into the insanity going on. There's three action sequences in particular that really stuck out to me, one being in this nightclub. It just has the perfect neon lighting and atmosphere of a John Wick movie fight scene. There's a grenade sequence in this movie that's just absolutely insane from start to finish. But most importantly, there is a flamethrower fight scene in this movie that goes on for so incredibly long that you think it would get boring, but it doesn't. It just keeps getting crazier throughout the entire fight. Like, there's literally a moment in this movie where they hit you with 3 instant replays of something that happened in a fight scene, which should feel so unbelievably like corny or goofy, but somehow the stuff going on screen is so good that you just don't care, and you're like, yeah, show me an instant replay of that. In addition to the action itself, the movie also looks pretty great. Like, it understands the very unique lighting and neon atmosphere that the John Wick movies has and captures that perfectly. And I kind of feel like a 2-year-old highlighting like, oh, it looks good because it's colorful, but I'm sorry, it's true. It's more entertaining to watch people fight on like an ice rink in a nightclub with like neon purple and blue lights than it is to watch them in like a dark alley or something. It's just the simple truth. Obviously, this has been a very positive review so far, and I did absolutely love the movie. It's simply just so much fun. There are some criticisms I do have of the film though. First of all, it is simply just a little too long. It's coming in at just over 2 hours long, and I feel like there's definitely about like 10 to 15 minutes in this movie just all throughout it that you definitely could have cut out and it would have been even better. But with that being said, I was never really bored with this movie even with that. And it mostly comes towards the end of the movie. It feels like it's about to end like 3 different times, but then it keeps going for like another 30 minutes. But even with that being said, every time I was like, oh, this movie's starting to drag on a little bit, then there was another absolutely insane action sequence that just pulled me right back into the movie. So I really didn't even mind the length, but it definitely could have been a little bit cleaner. There's one kind of like reveal in this movie that's supposed to be like a shocking emotional moment in the film, but honestly it comes so out of left field that for me personally it just felt like it shouldn't have even been in the movie, and that's one of the scenes that could have been cut and nothing would have changed. And like, they thought it was genuinely going to be some big moment in the movie, but I guarantee you you'll almost forget it even happened by the time you get to the end because the movie just skips over it so fast. So is this like some super creative and unique action story that you've never seen before with amazing character work or anything like that? No. But this movie is an absolute blast that will just give you some insane action from start to finish with great performances in it. Sometimes all you want is just a super entertaining summer blockbuster. This delivers on that. I give it a 9 out of 10. It was simply too much fun. If you want to see my other reviews on the channel, click the playlist above my head right now. And if you've seen the film, let me know your rating of it in the comments below.